We will be starting our last session in 4 minutes. May I remind you to mute yourself if you are not talking or the video is playing. We are now live on YouTube, but
Bersatu kita warga UiTM, kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setiaku untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terleka kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur kerahmatan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah penumbung pewaris bangsa, kamilah perawat bangsa Malaysia, kamilah warga berwawasan untuk negaraku.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Welcome to 49th Journalism e-Colloquium. We are thrilled to have you all here today, especially students from Universitas Budi Luhur, Indonesia. To honorary guests, respected lecturers, and beloved audience. First and foremost, I would like to express my utmost gratitude to each one of you for attending and joining our 49th Journalism e-Colloquium event. Journalism Colloquium is a biannual event run by students in the final year of the journalism program at UiTM. It is part of the activity for NewsCamp 2024. Before we begin the session today, let us grace our session with dua recited by Muhammad Alif Iqbal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Allahumma fir lana zunubana wa liwalidina warhamhuma kama rabbayana saghira wal jami'il muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you Iqbal. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us hear a few words from the 49th Journalism e-Colloquium project leader Fatina Uzma Shamsul Azhar.
Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, salam UiTM di hatiku, and good morning. To our Dean of the Faculty, Associate Professor Dr. Rasid Abdul Rahman, the esteemed panels, Mr. Khairul Yusuf from China Project, Mr. Sasongko Yudho from eBdesk Malaysia, Professors, Deputy Deans, the head of the centers, course coordinators, lecturers, faculty members, and fellow friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 49th Journalism e-Colloquium. It is with great pride and joy that I stand before you to begin the 49th Journalism Colloquium, an occasion painstakingly planned by the intelligent and motivated students of the fifth semester of the journalism program. This is not only a noteworthy turning point in our academic career, but it also demonstrates our dedication to remaining at the forefront of the changing media landscape. The theme of this colloquium is Data Journalism, Unveiling the Influence of Data in news story, which reflects the significant influence that technology has had on the fundamentals of our industry. It is a subject that recognizes how important data journalism is in forming journalists' perspective and skill sets in this modern era. Our organizing team, made of committed journalism students in their fifth semester, have put in countless hours to create an event that transcends the conventional limits of academia. By fostering an atmosphere where ideas are exchanged, problems are solved with creative solutions, and data in journalism becomes a fundamental component of our journalistic DNA. We hope to close the gap between theory and practice. I would like to express my gratitude to the faculty management, sponsors, and lecturers who have helped us realize our ambition. The fact that this endeavor was successful shows how much you believe in the student body's potential. To all fellow students, take advantage of this chance to get involved in the conversations, absorb knowledge from the experiences of our esteemed guests, and welcome the chances and challenges that the digital revolution has to offer. Allow this colloquium to serve as a springboard for your career and personal development. I want to thank everyone for joining me on this amazing adventure. I hope that Journalism Colloquium serves as a reminder of our group's commitment to the dynamic field of journalism. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatina Uzma. Next, let us proceed with a speech by the Honorable Dean of Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, Associate Prof. Dr. Abdul Rasid bin Abdul Rahman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam UiTM di hatiku, and a very good morning to professors, deputy deans, the head of centers, course coordinators, lecturers, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, and to all my dear students. Firstly, I want to express heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors whose support has made this event possible. Your commitment to promoting excellence in journalism and fostering meaningful discussion is deeply appreciated. I also want to extend my thanks to the hardworking organizing committee, Part 5 journalism students from the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies for their dedication and tireless efforts in putting together this event. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's digital age, data is not just a collection of numbers and statistics. It is the heartbeat of our society. As journalists and media practitioners, we have responsibility to harness the power of data to uncover truth, reveal insights, and tell compelling stories that resonate our audience. Data journalism is not about replacing traditional reporting, it is about enhancing it. It allows us to delve deeper into complex issues, analyze trends, and present information in innovative ways that engage and inform our readers, viewers, and even listeners. Moreover, data journalism enables us to bridge the gap between information and understanding. It empowers us to break down complex concepts into digestible pieces, making information accessible to a wider audience and fostering a more informed and engaged society. However, with great power comes great responsibility. As data journalists, we must uphold the highest standards of accuracy, integrity, and ethics. We must be vigilant in verifying our sources, questioning assumptions, and representing information in a fair and unbiased manner. In conclusion, data journalism is not just a tool. It is mindset, it's about curiosity, exploration, and the relentless pursuit of truth. By harnessing the power of data, We have the opportunity to shape the narrative, spark conversations, and drive positive change in our communities and beyond. With Lapas Bismillah, I'm honored to officially officiate the 49th Journalism e-Colloquium and look forward to the enlightening discussions and groundbreaking work that lies ahead in the field of data journalism.
Don't stop breathing. Don't stop. Don't stop breathing. Don't stop breathing.
Data journalism is not just about numbers, it is about finding stories hidden within the data.
Don't stop breathing.
Data journalism allows us to contextualize complex issues, presenting them in a digestible format for our audience.
It's like detective works. You sift through massive datasets to uncover insight that traditional reporting might miss.
Unveiling the influence of data in journalism.
Thank you to our beloved Dean for officiating our 49th Journalism e-Colloquium. All the speech are pre-recorded. The colloquium would also like to thank all our sponsors, Unkit Coffee, Restaurant Hazim, and Brand Me Associates for their contribution in ensuring that this event goes smoothly as planned. Now, let's begin our 49th Journalism e-Colloquium. Allow me to present our esteemed moderator for today's program, Mr. Fuad Nizam. Our moderator for today's discussion bring a wealth of journalistic experience to the forefront. As a full-time journalist at New Street Times, he has contributed extensively to both online and print platforms, collaborating closely with editorial teams. Fuad's expertise extends to photojournalism, evident in his freelance work with Zuma Press, where he captured impactful images of news events in Malaysia and crafted compelling captions for editorial photography. Moreover, his dedication to community service is evident through his volunteer work with the Malaysia Relief Agency, where he provided vital visuals during events and relief missions. Notably, during the COVID 19 pandemic and the 2021 Malaysian floods, showcasing his prowess in photography and photojournalism. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our incredible moderator, Mr. Fuad Nizam.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. I'm Fuad Nizam, your moderator for the 49th Journalism e-Colloquium. First, I would like to thank the MC earlier. So, I appreciate some of you taking your time off your busy schedules, especially on this Saturday morning to join us. And I do hope you learn a thing or two from our topic of discussion today, which is unveiling the influence of data in news story. We are honored to have an impressive panel of experts with us today. First up, we have Mr. Sasongko Yudho, or Pak Sas, joining us on the panel. Sasongko is the director at eBdesk Malaysia Sdn Berhad, based in Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Malaysia, and with a strong background in technology, software, and the internet industry, Sasongko has been actively engaged in driving innovation and positive change. Pak Sas, could you please share a bit about yourself with our audience today?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Sasongko. I'm at the moment managing eBdesk Malaysia Sdn Berhad. Okay, our organization actually focusing on the data analytics, yeah, big data analytics, and also artificial intelligence. So, when talking about positioning in the industry, actually, uh, what we are main function is actually, our main focus is on the collecting the data, processing the data, and try to make sense of the data. That's why during our experience in the industry is most of the time our deliverable to our client and industry is there are various kind of solution. One of it is the one that we're discussing today is about the data journalism. Because data journalism is not only about the data, as mentioned by Professor just now. It's about how you make sense the data. But in the end of the day, it's not about the data or statistic that you present. There must be a storytelling, there must be a conclusion, and there must be like a journalistic element, the data that you present. Yeah. So I think that's the brief of for me. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much, Pak Sas. So, our next panelist, we welcome Diyana Pfordten. She brings a wealth of expertise to the table as an experienced data journalist with a remarkable 9 years tenure in data analytics, specializing in uncovering trends across diverse subjects like economy, health, and politics. Diyana showcases a talent for crafting engaging narratives and content enriched with impactful data visualizations. Beyond her proficiency in data journalism, she boasts extensive skills in creative content creation, social media engagement, and project management. Furthermore, her adeptness in handling clients' reputational risks underscores her versatility and competence in the field. So, Miss Diana, if you don't mind, as well, could you please introduce yourself too? And since you're a data journalist, could you perhaps share a little bit on what's the difference between a data journalist and a data analyst? Sorry, Miss Diana, could you start from the top again? Apparently, we cannot hear you. Sorry, could you try again? Apparently, we cannot hear you from our end. Could you unplug and plug again your mic? Perhaps, Miss Diana, could you bring the mic closer to you? Because unfortunately, we can't hear the audio from your end. Again, for our audiences on YouTube, I apologize for the slight technical issue. Do bear with us while we sort it out. and get our panelists back in. Okay, while we wait for our panelists, Miss Diyana, to come in. Miss Diyana, I see you're back on our screen. Could you please test your mic for a bit? Unfortunately, we can't hear you, but it's all right. Why, if it's okay with you, Miss Diyana, we could go on to Pak Sasongko first while we sort your technical difficulties. So, Pak Sasongko, moving on to our session. The poser for you. To the first question, how does data journalism reshape traditional journalistic practices in unveiling the influence of data in news story? So what do you think about it, Pak Sasongko?
Yes, I mean, based on our experience, actually we have started with the big data analytics, and then when come to big data analytics, we need some not experiment, but we need some topic, because big data analytics is just a methodology in terms of science. So science without any applied platform, then there is no use for the science. So that's why one of it that one of the topic or industry that we try to apply is the journalism. When we started applying our big data analytics on the journalism, we see there are a lot of changes in terms of traditional media. For example, right? For example, if you apply big data analytics when you want to interview someone, when you want to interview someone, normally when you want to interview someone on in terms of journalistic, you will do some research. You have a team to do research, and the research maybe using internet, you Google the background of your guests, and then you try to capture what is their interest, and then you try to use them into your interview. But when you apply big data analytics, it's not only the background of your guests, but you can see every single detailed statements that he made, maybe for example like for past 5 years, for example. And then when you perform some analytics, you do clustering, you do machine learning, the big data analytics will give you some recommendation. What is negative, what is positive, what is a trend, what is not really trend in terms of your guess. So when come to the interview, instead you just asking, okay, for example, Dato, what's your activity for past 1 month? Instead, you are just asking typical generic question. You can actually asking, Dato, based on your statements exposed in NST on this date, you explain about this. But actually, in the trend of the industry, which is covered for past 5 years, the industry is saying something like this. What's your opinion about that? So this is the things that a simple thing that actually changed the landscape of data journalism. Sorry, the landscape of journalistic. Instead, you just asking typical generic question or just interviewing. You actually can transfer the interview session into a discussion. Yeah, because whoever it is, whoever interviewing your audience with the big data analytics in the hand, actually you can ask better and more precise, more targeting question. Yeah, that's one of it, that how big data analytics or data journalism changed the entire landscape of journalism. Yeah, that's one angle of it. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Pak Sas. I see Diyana back online. Miss Diyana, are you okay to talk?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
All right, that's great.
I'm so sorry about this.
All right, to all the audiences, let me just recap it back to you. So our other panelist is Miss Diyana Pfordten. She brings a wealth of expertise to the table as an experienced data journalist with a remarkable 9-year tenure in data analytics. She specializes in uncovering trends across diverse subjects like health, economy, and politics. And beyond her proficiency in data journalism, she boasts extensive skills in creative content management, social media engagement, and project management. Furthermore, her adeptness in handling clients' reputational risks underscores her versatility and competence in the field. So, Miss Diyana, could you perhaps share a bit about yourself, and also as a data journalist, could you perhaps give some difference between a data journalist and a data analyst?
Okay. So I've been with the Star as a data journalist for about 4 years. Before that, I was with Berkshire Media. It's a consultancy, which analyze data more for sentiment analysis on various topics for clients. Before that, I was a journalist student, and also I took information and media warfare studies. That paved the way for me to data journalism. So I didn't really have like a data journalism background per se, but then um, moving to my first job as I took as I was a data analyst at Butch Media, I actually analyzed large data sets like Mr. Sasongko said about big data and how we use machine learning to analyze these data to get trends for our clients' reputational risk. So moving into data journalism, I had that background of data analytics. So what's the difference between traditional data and also data journalism? So actually, data journalism significantly reshapes journalistic practices. It introduces like new methods for gathering data, analyzing, and presenting information. So what is the usual process of like reporting a news story? You go to a press conference, you go to an event, you interview people. So you go back and write a story. You pitch to your editor and you write a story. But what's the difference with data journalism is that it leverages on vast data sets to uncover trends, patterns, and correlations that might not be immediately visible. So you spend a lot of time to analyze the data, and you could find trends, and you maybe sometimes you don't. So it all depends on how you analyze the data and whether it is newsworthy. So uh, so how can data tell a story? Like, how do we make sense of the data? Can you read the data? Does the data make sense? So this shift allows journalists to base their stories on like quantitative evidence, enhancing the credibility and depth of their reporting. Like for instance, data analysis tools like Python and R enable journalists to sift through large volumes of data, and it's identifying significant insights and trends. So there's like visualization tools such as Tableau, Flourish. They can make like very complex data accessible and also engaging to the audience. And these tools help tell stories that are not only compelling but also substantiated by data. Like they transform how news is reported and also consumed. So what kind of data can you find and make into news? It's like for example, like for previously mentioned, like how the voting trend is in Malay majority seats, if you're talking about elections, like what about other seats where other races dominate. And we can also like play around with data to find like very light topics like where is the cheapest location to buy a house during a heat wave, where's the hottest district in the country, what are popular cars that people are buying since the 1990s. So these are like simple trends that we can find through data, to available data that's online. We can extract it and clean it, analyze it. So if you want to look at more complicated data, like through the Parliament Hansard, we can find out like how members of parliament are performing, like who skips parliament the most, like who asks questions the most, or who interrupts other people's speeches. So these are the kind of analysis that we can do through data journalism.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Diana, for that insightful introduction. So actually, moving on to our next part of the discussion. So To both of you, what strategies do you believe are essential for journalists to master in order to thrive in this data-driven era?
Mr. Sasongko, do you wanna
Okay.
go?
Uh, okay, basically like this. When come to data journalism, sometimes people already scared first. I mean, when come to let's say, especially for those from the background of mass communication, without mathematics background, without programming background, or just now Ms. Diana mentioned about Python, Tableau, and so on. But actually, data journalist or any big data analytics, we can make it simple because in big data analytics, it's not the statistic, the one that important, but the creativity of understanding the context. That's the most important. I mean, let me share, yeah, let me share with you. In our organization, eBdesk, yeah, when we say data scientists, yeah, most of our data scientists, we prefer to get students from mass communication, not from the IT background. But we purposely looking for journalists. Why? Because journalists, the one that already years trained with the understanding the context, understanding the situation. So when they join our organization, the first thing is we're going to train them with the basic statistic, understanding what is mean, what is the minimum value, high value, and so on. You don't need to be until the machine learning or neural network and so on. But the most important in our organization, and this is also the one that our organization eBdesk always relevant, because it's the storytelling. It's not about how big data center we have. Yes, we have data center, but having data center, as I mentioned in the beginning, without proper data storytelling, then we just a machine, just a machine. That's why there is a statistic, there is a mathematic, but there is also data science. Why people come up with the data science? Why statistic is not enough? Why computer science is not enough? Why mathematics is not enough? Because mathematics, computer science, and statistics is just the journey. It's just the vehicle. So who's going to translate the data? Who's going to come up with the context? Who's going to come up with the problem statement? Actually, when it comes to data journalism, it's the journalist. That's why in our organization, in any problem statement that given or assignment given by our clients, the first thing will be the journalist that try to map the problem statements into a general mapping, detail mappings. And because we already trained them with some basic statistics, they already know how to translate it into some kind of structural or uh, at least with the logical algorithm flow. Yeah, that's the most important. Because with the AI, with the current AI, if you familiar with generative AI, to do the programming, now you can ask the machine to do that. But the most important is not the programming, how you do the prompt. In ChatGPT, for example, I'm sure every one of you also using ChatGPT. The most important is not the ChatGPT. The ChatGPT, you can get it for free. But someone with context and someone without context, given the same ChatGPT, I believe, I can guarantee, will give different result. So the most important here is the contextual. And here where the journalists, people with the background journalists, people with passion in journalists want to understand the context, that's will be the champion. That's my opinion. That's why my background is actually informatic engineering, subset of computer science. But for past 15 years, what I learned is about journalistic. I learned about propaganda. I learned about ethos, pathos, and so on and so on. Why? Because I try to translate my data. I try to translate all the assets that we have into something that the client needs. The client doesn't need Python. The client doesn't need Tableau, but the client needs the solution. For example, about the issue of boycott, for example, some of retail industry is our client. They don't need to know what kind of programming language you use, but what they need to know, Pak Sas, can you tell me what should I come to media tomorrow? Okay, Dato. Okay, Encik, tomorrow you have to come up with narrative. Why? Because for past 1 week, this is what happened. So that's actually is part of journalistic. That's why we always put our journalists in the front line. The computer science, the programmer will be on the back to do the back end processing. But the front, the most important is the journalist. So this is my opinion, Mr. Moderator. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Pak Sas. So,
Yep.
what about Miss Diana on the poster that I posed to both of you?
So basically, the most important like skills I think that a data journalist has to have is, you have to Mr. Sasongko said, you storytelling with data. So beyond technical skills, how do we tell the story? What is the most important gist of it? So it goes back to basic like journalist punya background lah kan. How what angle do you want to show to the audience, and how does it relate to your audience? Does it matter to them? So the data is of course important. That's the core of it. But how does it relate, and how do you manipulate, or not really manipulate? How do you structure the data so that it is important to your audience? So this involves like crafting a narrative that integrates data insight seamlessly. So making complex information understandable. So it is very complex. The process of analyzing the data is very complex. But how do you simplify that data so that people understand? So that's a difficult part for me as a data journalist. So yeah. So that involves like critical thinking. Also, you have to bear in mind that, of course, you have to have ethics in data journalism. So ensuring privacy. So because these data is available online, doesn't mean you can use it. For example, like you can scrape data from websites, but it doesn't mean it's ethical. So it depends if you have access to the data, can you use it? So you have to make sure like you have like permission to use the data, stuff like that. So it maintains like transparency, and also it's like very crucial ethical considerations to take into to take into account. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you, Miss Diana. Also, actually, there's another set of questions for you. So, if you don't mind, Miss Diana, how has your extensive experience in data analytics and your educational background in information and media warfare studies influenced your approach to data journalism, particularly in creating compelling data visualizations and managing reputational risks for your clients?
So when I studied information and media warfare studies, it's more on the psychological side of information. There is a bit about data analytics and stuff, of course. But when we understand how information is, used to influence people's perception, so in a way, you get that grind to understand how your information influences people. So that analytical rigor and strategic thinking, cultivated through my education, helps in like dissecting complex data sets and also extracting meaningful stories. So this foundation like ensures that the data visualizations that I create not only is visually appealing to my audience, but is also accurate and also informative. So in terms like of reputational risk management, there's many considerations that you have to take when you want to publish a story. So you have to understand the demographics of your audience. What is the sensitive issues? You cannot just publish anything, right? So because of my background on reputational risks, you know what kind of angle that you want to put forth on a certain issue. So there are certain stories. There's amazing data, there's amazing findings, but you cannot publish it because of sensitivities. So that's the thing that we have to take into account lah. Yeah, thanks.
All righty, Miss Diana. So what I take from that, it's not just taking the data and turning it into a story, but we need to as well know if the data could also affect sensitivities of other people as well. So moving on. So there's another question for both panelists. So, in today's digital world, journalism school educators, eBdesk, and your organization, Ms. Diyana, the Star, are confronted with various challenges, I believe. So, specifically, could you both share the challenges you face in teaching perhaps students and staff to effectively use data in journalism?
Okay, let me start first. Yeah. Uh, how we teach in terms of journalism, especially for a big data analytics team. In my organization, we have every morning in all my staff, regardless it is from the background journalist or computer science. Every morning we will have like a what we call war room session. War room session is something like that. We have to brainstorm. We have to mind mapping what's happened in Malaysia at that particular day, and every single staff for first 1 hour in the morning they have to come up with the mind map for every single topic. That one that the war room decide this is the most important. So then they will have to submit their mind map. Yeah. So although it's not student, they are professional, but still for every day you have to expose with the real situation. You cannot just memorizing. You cannot just working in the lab, but you have to expose directly to the real situation. Yeah. So that's the most important thing, because if you just, although you are a journalist student, but you are not exposed in the real situation, uh, because journalism is not something that you can memorize all the time. Journalism is always change every day. Today maybe the issue is about the boycotting, for example, or like yesterday suddenly Zeus coffee also suddenly become trend in our radar, for example. So if you never follow the issue of boycotting because of Palestine and Israel issues, then to understand why suddenly Zeus become trending, although you have the big data analytics, then you're going to be blur. Yeah, you don't know why suddenly Zeus. Then the story of Zeus is started with the Starbucks, we started with McD, all the issue, all the Western product, to the last year when the incident started. So that's why the most critical thing is that every journalist or every data journalist, or even in my case, in my organization, every data scientist, you must expose all the time, 24 hours by 7, if it is important, to what's happened in the country. So that's my opinion, yeah, Mr. What?
All right, what about you, Miss Diana?
So maybe the challenges that I face in my organization, we started off small. I was the first like data journalist to be hired at the Star, and we didn't really have like a base of what to do. So we really learned along the way. I, as I said, I didn't really learn anything about data journalism in my studies. So on the job, I was trained like how to visualize data, and maybe my background had some of it, but for journalistic purposes, it was a bit different. So when I went through that process, I understood better how to make like visuals more compelling, and also how some data work and some they don't, um, and also to focus on the current issues. Like maybe you have some data and also some findings that are interesting, but because it doesn't have any context like to current events, so you can't really use that, so you have to keep that story or keep that data for another day. So to match data findings and newsworthy stories, it could be difficult. So maybe you pitch a story to your editor, and then they say, so what's the correlation with today's happenings, like today's events, current events. So, and when you can't answer that, that's the difficult part comes in. When our team grew bigger, now we have like three data journalists working on data stories. We have like a more broad perspective of stories. And of course, when we could get like data scientists to help us, that speeds up the process of data analytics. Because, for example, when I mentioned about analyzing Hansard for like stories on Parliament, we have years and years of data and maybe thousands of PDF files to analyze. So how do we do that? We don't have any like technical skills in analyzing these large data sets, and we are all just journalists. So how do we do that? So we have to find like a partner to help analyze that large data sets. So without that, we can only do like simple stories. So yeah, that's basically it.
All right. So, another question for both of you. This is particularly interesting because we live in a time of with social media platforms abound. So, how do you see the role of social media activation in enhancing the impact of data-driven stories in today's digital landscape to bring in our audiences or perhaps readers to come about and know what we are presenting?
Okay, based on my experience, right? When it comes to journalistic, basically I can just divide. There are journalistic is always about media, so I can just divide into two: social media and mainstream media. Mainstream media is not always the printed media, but for example, like Malaysia Gazette, Malaysia Kini, nowadays we can consider it as a mainstream media, right? So there are there you must apply some proper approach when you do the analysis, because we know in social media there are more noise than voice. In the mainstream media there are more voice than noise, right? So how we combine these two? That's why if you just based on the traditional conventional way, for example, like you are reading social media, we don't have the capability to read all the Twitter, right? Let's say like yesterday, I used the still same cases, Zeus Coffee, yeah, suddenly trending in the Twitter. So how are you going to analyze that situation? Are you going to read one by one? Right. Let's say yesterday I saw it in the Twitter, in the X, and then I click the trend and then I read one by one. If I keep read one by one, the Twitter keep loading and loading and loading and loading. So in the end of the day, you will sometimes you might trap into bias because you only read from one perspective. We're just talking about X. We have not go into TikTok. We have not go into Instagram, right? But that's why when come to data journalism, you whether you like it or not, you must apply big data analytics. As like Mr. Diyana mentioned, you must play with the large data set. Why? Because even only looking at the juice coffee, let's say you are management of juice coffee, right? When you're looking and suddenly you are trending in the Twitter. Yes, you must look also on the Twitter. You cannot just selective one, two, three. You must look all. And then you also have to whether this is trend also in the TikTok, whether this also trend in the Instagram. And not enough. You have to look also in the mainstream media. How the mainstream media react on the Zeus coffee because of the apology statement come yesterday, right? Then that's where the big data analytics come to the picture. You have to capture all. You cannot use sampling, yeah. You must, maybe it's not the total census, but you must capture a large data set even from the issue of Zeus. Then only you can make decision. Let's say, for example, in the social media, every people condemn and every people comment about it. But actually, in mainstream media, there is less exposure, right? So when talking about from strategic communication perspective, let's say you are the management of this, that's become one of your indicators. What kind of narrative? When you want to issue the narrative, when you want to call, let's say the star to come with statement, or you want to come up with you want to start from the mainstream media first, or you want to reply in the social media first. Be careful, right? In social media, there is one rule. You cannot be defensive. Netizen is really, you cannot control netizen, right? So let's say when come to crisis, normally we will always advise first. Don't go to social media, although the spark starting from the social media. But start with the mainstream media. That's also we have to be selective. Who you want to call? Let's say they come to Zeus. Are you going to call Star, Malaysia Kini first, Malaysia Gazette first, or who? That depends on what kind of sentiment you want to play. So that's the most important thing. Even to come up who you call, which media you want to call for interview, you must run a data science exercise, not just statistic, not just survey, but data science exercise. Yeah. So that's the example of application. I'm sorry if I'm talking a lot of applied an example. Maybe later on, if in maybe next question, if possible, I can share you some of our analysis why it is important to look from the both side. Cannot just because social media netizen dah condemn semua, kita kena come up dengan apa statement. Be careful ya, because social media there will be more noise than voice. So if you want to deliver voice, then like for example, our formula is always start with the mainstream media first. Unless you want to do campaign, Zeus Coffee, you have a promotion. Don't go to mainstream media, go to social media first. But when it comes to crisis management, you have to start from the mainstream media first. Then you have to choose who are the influencer in social media. That's why it's always both sides. When you come up with the narrative statements, that start with the mainstream media. But if you want to find influencers, because it is about consumer product, you look influencers from the social media, not from the mainstream media, because people don't look at the
Mr. Sasongko, you're on mute.
especially when you are public listed company, right? If you don't start with the mainstream media, you straight away fight in the social media, then the first impact will be your share price, right? Example like all those conglomerates, right? If something happen, crisis happen, the first thing you must you must do something narrative to your stakeholder first, your financial market first. If you are public listed company, but if you don't, if you just based on the emotion, we have to come up with a apology statement and we blast it in social media, and then netizen keep goreng, we call it goreng, goreng the issues. Then the first impact is not your branding, but your share price, right? So, and share price is reflected with your company value. That's why there are many consideration. There is no exact formula. It's always depend on the, as I mentioned, targeted situation, and every situation must be handled differently. Yeah. Okay. That's for me. Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Sasongko, I'm just curious, right?
Yes.
Because you mentioned about the Zeus issue. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about how they handled the situation? Like, first they came out with a statement to say
Yeah.
that the first statement, and then
Yeah.
after a few hours or I think they came out with the second statement. So, what do you think about that strategy
Yeah.
in handling the situation?
Yeah. Actually, when come to Zeus, yeah, I'm sorry. This one, my disclaimer first. Yeah, this is my opinion from outsider.
Uh-huh.
Zeus must learn from McDonald's and Starbucks before last year. The first thing also what happened with McDonald's is they come up with the statement first. Be careful when you come up with the statement. You must understand what this issue about. If the issue about, for example, like malfunction of the product, or let's say there are some from your product perspective, technical perspective, yes, you come up with the statements. But if it is involve emotion, yeah, I always advise my client, don't come up with statement yet. First, you must gather in the social media or in the big data analytics, we call it SNA, social network analysis. You must understand those the one that memaki, membawang, you must establish the cluster first in social media. Either the top influencer or just Gen Z, for example. I'm sure, yeah, you're all Gen Z, yeah, all the students. But so, especially when the Gen Z, the one who generate the cluster, then you have to be careful first. Because Gen Z, you cannot explain with the apology statement, right? Because if you already come up with the apology statement and then the Gen Z or the netizen keep attacking you, then you, I dah bagi apology. Mereka tak faham. Then you keep come up with another defensive statements. Then it's always, you will be trapped in the never-ending situation, because when it comes to boycotting, it's about emotion. It's not about technical. It's not about logic, right? Perception is a perception. Perception is not about right or wrong. Yeah, perception is about what people perceive. Yeah, all those journalist student, you must always remember this quote. Perception is about what people perceive. If in my hand, for example, now this is a tea, but only me saying that this is a tea, but another 1,000 people saying that this is a coffee, then this is a coffee. If you come up with the statement, no, this is a tea, I can produce you, I can show you this one made from this brand, blah, blah, blah. No, because people believe this is a coffee. So how to do that? Then you must play with what is the sentiment? That's why sentiment is not always about positive, negative. This is also sometimes, most of the time, that I want to highlight. Sentiment is about what people perceive. That's why if it is a coffee, okay, Then you talk, yes, I understand this is a coffee. Okay, then you blend. You blend with the narrative, the one that people that attacking you. Okay, I agree, this is a coffee. Then slowly, one by one. Yes, it takes time, but that's the only way that you can do. But if you keep playing defensive, saying, no, this is a tea, I bring a professor to give evidence. I bring the CEO of the product manufacturer. This is a tea. But 1,000 people say, no, this is a coffee. And you keep defensive, there will be another 1,000 saying, no, this is a coffee. Then the problem is, if it is already become snowball issues. 10,000 people, 100 people, 100,000 people saying this is a coffee, then you have, then damage has been done. Then it will be difficult for you to recover. So for in terms of the boycotting, the first thing, you cannot just playing with the defensive unless the issue of KK Mart. KK Mart is about technical issues. Yeah, whether you intentionally, unintentionally, suddenly there is an evidence in your about the issue is about the religious sensitivity. KK Mart is still a correct way. You come up with the apology. That's correct because it's considered as, it's not perception, but it is a technical, like a malfunction product. Then after that, you go to mainstream media. You come up with the issue. You bring to the minister, the influencers, the PIP to come narrative together with you. You bring together Kementerian Komunikasi. That's the right way. But when it comes to issue boycott, because it's perception, it's not about right or wrong, but it's about people, what people perceive. So those two different, yeah. I mean here, yeah, because of students, so I give you two examples. Zeus Coffee, McDonald issues because of Palestine solidarity, and KK Mart. Yes, KK Mart, you have to straight away come up with the apology first. Yeah, is the point. If it is good when the top person in the organization, the managing director or the CEO, the one, not the communication director, yeah, straight away the CEO come with the apology. This is very good. But when come to the boycott is not, it's not about a right or wrong, right? It's about, it's very subjective. It's not objective. KK Mart is very objective. Or let's say you got, let's say Toyota got malfunction. Straight away you come up with the apology. But if it is about sentiment, when if it is about emotion, be careful. Sometimes come up with a formal statement, it will make the issue getting more damaging from time to time. That's my opinion, yeah, Ms. Diana.
I think that's very interesting because it's all about like understanding your audience. It's the same with journalism. Of course, the stories that you get like varieties. So how sorry, going back to like how does social media activation like plays a critical role in amplifying like the impact of data driven stories, right? So once you understand your audience, you know how to angle the going back to angling the story or like the lead to relate to your audience. So but I think one of the challenges that like the starting as a newspaper face is how do we leverage on social media to you know widen the audience, reach the audience, a wide audience quickly, because people want fast information, right? So when we publish articles, we have to get like the full info and then publish. But then the quick way is we put like a few lines first and then more to come, something like that. But with social media, you can like immediately like tweet and say, okay, this is happening. So people are more engaged in that type of content. So how like can organizations like the media organizations leverage on that? Now we see that certain journalists go on Twitter and you know publish facts about you know a court case or something immediately from there. So that is like one of the engaging ways. But how do we drive back the audience to our organization? So that poses a challenge for media, I think. But of course, social media can be a platform that really helps in getting the messages across. But it all depends on how we use it. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Pak Sas and Diana. I do concur with you guys that in a way, we have to, in terms of social media, we need to cut above the noise that's surrounding the whole network. So that pretty much sums up our first round for this morning. So I hope everyone, especially on YouTube there, is able to grasp the important input that we received from the session earlier. So therefore, to participants, if you have to have any questions to our panelists, feel free to put them in the chat box. And for everyone else, we will take a short break and where we could relax, and we'll be back for the second round. Thank you so much, everybody.
Data journalism is not just about numbers, it is about finding stories hidden within the data.
Data journalism allows us to contextualize complex issues, presenting them in a digestible format for our audience.
It's like detective works. You sift through massive datasets to uncover insight that traditional reporting might miss.
Unveiling the influence of data in journalism.
Welcome back, everyone, and to those who are on the other end in YouTube, thank you for your active participation in today's talk on data journalism, unveiling the influence of data in news stories. So now it's time to dive deeper into the topic. So please remember for any audiences at home to type in your questions in the chat box, and I'll do my best to address as many as possible. So let's continue this engaging conversation. I believe Pak Sas also just came in from his break. Welcome back. So for both panelists, are you guys ready to dive in for the second round?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. So we'll start off the round of questioning to Pak Sas. Pak Sas, with the new proliferation of misinformation and fake news, how can data journalism serve as a tool for fact-checking and debunking false narratives?
Okay, that's why I keep repeating that you have to apply big data analytics, because the only way when you want to understand this is a fake news or this is a, we call it, the terminology is the admiralty. We don't mention it as a this is hoax, this is fake or not, but the credibility of the information. In the term of big data analytics, we call it as admiralty analysis. So that's why to do admiralty analysis or to try to analyze the credibility of a news, you have to play with the large data set. You cannot just play with the like 10 data, 10 information, 50 information. No, maybe like the issue of coffee, like boycotting. You must play with hundred of thousand data, because that's where you will see which one credible and or which one is the less credible. Mr. Moderator, is it possible if I can share you some of my slides? Easier for me to explain.
Sure thing, that would be great.
Okay, sure. Hold on, yeah. Yeah. This is one of the, you can see my slide, yeah? Sorry. Do you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the one though I mentioned just now, the how the media travel so fast, yeah? As I mentioned, you see the media reliance here, right? You see, when something happened, when the crisis happened, right? Within 1 hour, the crisis, the issues, the information will spread all over the social media. This only happened one hour. That's why Miss Diyana just now mentioned that nowadays, journalists, you don't need to be in the parliament, you don't need to be in Putrajaya. The most important, all journalists, you must watch the social media, because within 1 hour, all the issue will spread all over the social media. Then after that, after 3 hours, the mainstream media will always have some coverage on what happened in the first hours. Then after 6 hours, then people already have a discussion about this. Then only after that, 12 hours, people, we don't talking about journalists. We just talking people sitting on the coffee shop, people talking in kedai mamak. They already come up with the analysis. That's why, this is why the information travel very fast. We cannot wait until the star print the media tomorrow. Yeah, we must react. We must understand what happened in the first day. That's why this is where the big data analytics come to the picture. For example, yeah, this is some example of our analysis regarding the boycott issues. Yeah, if you see here, yeah. Okay, this one is we did it in the November last year about the Palestine solidarity and boycott about the Israel incident. Okay, this one is still a normal journalistic. Why we need to understand the context, because before we play with the data, we must understand what is the context of the problem statement. Then we must also scan what is the headlines of the news. That's the most important to understand. Then only the data journalism start on the play. If you see in the screen here, right? You see the screen here, right? Okay. When you see the screen here, the first thing, sorry, yeah. Okay. The first thing you must understand what will be the trend. If you see in the screen here, I have one trend about Malaysia and Palestine, and the other one, Malaysia and boycott. If you see the trend here, it's all moving in the same direction. If talking about the data science, the correlation index is the same, positive correlative. So be careful. Anything related with the boycott will always related with the solidarity. Then only you go to the what is the main topic. This is in the data science, we call it a clustering analysis. Yeah, those the one that study machine learning clustering. There's a k-means and so on and so on. And then the most important, who are the top influencers? So this is the one that always we believe this is the most important, yeah, all the time. The influencers, because it's already become the national issues. It's not like the Zeus issue, yeah. This one is about the Palestine and solidarity Palestine. So who are the top influencers? So we can see here that our PM become the number one influencers. Yeah. How we define influencers? This is related with journalism actually. We define influencers is not based on number of news, but number of statements. I think you all will agree with me, right? All journalists, every time you do some coverage or some event, semua akan berebut. Everyone will you always come to the VIP. Datuk, please comment. Datuk, please comment. Why? Because news without statement, there is no value. Every news will come up with the statement, because statement is defined as the positioning of the news, the narrative of the news. That's why statements, extracting statement is the most important. It's not only the headline. Headline is just to scan, just to monitor. But if you want to see the statements, then you have to look at the, if you want to see the narrative, you must look at the statements, because journalists, wartawan, will always put the statement. Statement is the one that very, very valuable. That's why all the journalists, you willing under the rain, under the hot sun, you wait minister, you wait the parliament member to come up from the parliament session, and you wait, and then you ask question, you get the statements. That's why when it comes to big data analytics, we also look at the statements. In fact, we define sentiment is not based on positive, negative, but based on the statements. And then after we do some calculation, who are, when it comes to this Malaysia and Palestine, who has the highest number of statements exposed by the media? Yeah. In this case, is the Prime Minister, which is very good. Because if, meaning what? Because when come to the Malaysia and when come to Palestine solidarity, the government is there, all referring to the statement from the Prime Minister, which is very good. And then if you look at the number 2 statement, it's from the Menteri apa at that time is Menteri Luar lah, before the reshuffle. So it's very good. So first, as from the context of strategic communication, government already done a great job. The top 5 is all from the government ministers. Yeah. Because the issue is about the government to government, solidarity to Palestine, right? Yeah. If, for example, if suddenly the number 1 influencer is from the opposition, then something not right. Meaning, we can say you are losing the narrative. The government losing the narrative if suddenly the top influencers are from the opposition. Because the issue is about the national issue. Any national issues, disasters, economy, for us, experience from the strategic communication as strategic communication consultant, first thing first, we don't look at the positive or negative, but we look from the influencers. Who are the top influencers? If the topic is about national agenda, the government must be the top influencers. Yeah. Then after that, top 5 or top 10. Then after that, opposition, then it's okay. Because showing that government control the narrative. Yeah. Then only, that's how we come up with all these statements. How we calculate like 4,000 statements from prime ministers, 900 statements from the minister. That's where the big data analytics come to the picture. As I mentioned just now, you must come with a large data set. You cannot just define, okay, prime minister become top influencers. How many statements you have? 10. Then not enough. That's why we are talking about even for specific time range and specific issue, we look at the thousands of statements. Yeah. Then only the others, something like this. Yeah. Or even if you want to look from the perspective of social media, okay, this is the interesting part, yeah, to mention whether correct or not. Yeah. This is from social media. Just now is from the mainstream media. This one from social media. From social media, we always look from the social network analysis. Why? Because we want to generate clusters. Yeah. When come to Malaysia bersama Palestine, this one the topic, Malaysia bersama Palestine hashtag. We don't looking at positive and negative. We looking which cluster established. We got Bernama, we got Malaysia Gazette here, the cluster. Why we need to understand the cluster? Remember during COVID time, during COVID, yeah, the DG Kesehatan, Dato Nur Hisham. Every day, Dato Nur Hisham will give announcement how many people infected, how many people recovered. But the next is how many cluster established, cluster of COVID. Yeah, for what? For the government to decide whether you want to do PKP or PKPD. Remember, yeah, total lockdown or just normal lockdown. And we remember in social media, we always talking about viral, viral, and viral. Where the come viral, where the come the words viral come from? It's from the word virus. Managing social media is not much different like managing virus. Yes, it is viral like COVID. Everyone kena COVID. But the first thing, we have to look at the cluster. For example, in this. For example, or maybe this one Malaysia bersama Palestine. Okay, maybe another analysis. For example, like boycott. Yeah, for example, yeah. When come to boycott, we want to see who actually become the main cluster of the issue of boycott. Yeah, if you look here, yeah, there are some influencer in social media here. So government, from the perspective of strategic communication, you must put attention on those the one that become clusters, like COVID. For example, in the Chokit, suddenly there is a large cluster of COVID. Then the government will send the military to do PKPD, total lockdown, right? But if suddenly you see India on the side, or there is a small number, although it's very, very negative, but if it is not become a clusters, sometimes you just let it go. It's like a COVID. Or apa, it's just a one family, you just self-isolate. You don't need to send the military to have a total lockdown. So exactly, understanding social media is like understanding virus. You must understand. Same goes. If in the main cluster they are talking about that information, right? So that's become, as I mentioned just now, perception. That's the one, although it's not right. Yeah, although like just is perception. I have tea in my hand, but suddenly 1,000 people, 10,000 people, this is a coffee. Then we must handle the coffee. We cannot be defensive. Yeah, although the credibility of the issue is not right. Yeah, we cannot say, oh itu bohong, itu fitnah. We cannot. Tak boleh. We must handle that. Same like how we handle the cluster. But the first thing, big data must play roles how to establish this cluster. Then only you make a decision. Yeah, I think that's my opinion. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So please continue. Yeah.
That's very comprehensive, Pak Sas. What about you, Miss Diyana? What's your take on it?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
No worries. It's all right. So with the proliferation of misinformation and fake news, how can data journalism serve as a tool for fact-checking and debunking false narratives?
Okay. So we have a lot of tools online that we can use to fact check. Of course, there's so many information available that we gather. So if for traditional media, we check with our sources, with the commentary and everything to ensure that the data is correct, it can be used. So for data journalism, we have to ensure that our source of data is from a credible source. We have to ensure to fact check information that we gather from like contohnya we get from other sources that are not from our government, so we have to like check with the data available in the government whether it correlates. So, for example, we can also use AI to fact check in terms of like the pictures used, like when we want to report on a certain issue, when they publish, like when our social media comes out with a viral photo of something. So they say this and this happened, like people gaduh because of something, a race issue. So we can actually use AI and also the tools available online to fact check whether this media has came up before. Maybe it's related to another issue, and it's very easy to actually fact check if you do the due diligence. So if you actually take the time to do it, it's doable. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Diyana and Pak Sas. Moving on, as this is the next question. This is a poser for two of you if you want to answer. As technology continues to advance, what emerging trends or innovations do you foresee in shaping the future of data journalism?
Okay, this is the thing that I always mention to our friend in the academic. Yeah. There are some professor few years ago asking about what the future of our journalist, Pasas, for example. Be careful. I told this about 5 years ago. AI will replace the job of journalists. Yeah. For example, ChatGPT. Everyone now can do a copywriting. Everyone with sub Google and ChatGPT in the hand, you can write an articles. Yeah, with some creativity monitoring social media. So what will be the future of journalists? That's why 5 years ago, I told my friend, professors, you must put in data science in one of the curriculum of mass communication. Because whether after that you want to be a journalist, you want to be a PR consultant, you want to be communication consultant, in the end of the day, it's the data, is the capability, is the skill of data journalism. Because if you just want to rely on the conventional journalism, yeah, everyone can be a journalist, including myself. I can write within 5 minutes using ChatGPT. I just put the point, ChatGPT. I just put the prompt. Can you write an article about the, for example, like the incident happened yesterday, Jemaah Islamiyah attack in Johor Bahru, right? Jemaah Islam, when with the victim of two. I can just put the point. I ask ChatGPT to come up with an article. It's within 5 minutes. Yeah. So this is actually in the traditional way, or maybe 10 years ago, this is the role of wartawan, right? But nowadays, it's all will be replaced by AI, including photographer, right? If some of you playing with Mid Journey, with the image generative, sometimes you don't need to come up. Graphic designer also will be replaced with the AI. So be careful. AI is a double sword situation. It will kill all our job, including myself. Maybe in the future, AI will replace my role as a management. So I have to find something more creative. Yeah. Because nowadays everything is all AI. To decide the company where company go is based on AI. That's why we cannot just rely in the comfort zone. Yeah. All journalists, please learn about data science. It's not difficult. Take all the Coursera, talk all those courses. Why? Because that's the one that make us relevant. Yeah. Because if just writing, copywriting, designing a graphic, it will be replaced by AI. And it is very fast, guys. Yeah. It's not talking about next 5 years. We are talking about it happened yesterday. It's not talking next 5 years. It happened yesterday, last week. Yeah. So this is the one also with all my talent in my organization. I don't want writing. That's why every morning I ask them not to do writing, but to do the mind map. Because that's the one that make us, that's the one that I want to see from them. How you understand the issues, not how you write the issues. To write the issues, even I encourage them, use ChatGPT. Yeah. Even to write proposal, any tender, any analysis or any report, use ChatGPT. Don't waste your time, hours just to do the right thing. Your job is, even journalists, is to do the mind map. What's happening? What's the variables? What's the indicators? What the things that's going to impact the case, for example. Yeah. So the one that will really have impact in the journalism industry will be the AI, especially the generative artificial intelligence. Okay, that's my opinion. Thanks. Yeah.
So on my side, I think AI plays a role in journalism in a way that I don't think it will replace journalism because of the limitation it has. Because of course AI can come up with a news article, but can they fact check? How can they know that the article, the information there is credible? How can they contact a source and to comment about a particular issue and ensure that the information that is gathered is correct. So, of course, journalists have that added value of not only writing an article, but also doing other due diligence and also adding value to the article. What I like to say is AI actually helps journalists in doing articles faster and also adding value, some value to it. So of course, in journalism, it helps in terms of data collection, analysis, uncover patterns easily, and also generating insights. So it helps journalists so much, but I don't really think that it can replace us lah. Yeah, that's from our AI course that we went through and discussed. So moving forward. Of course, in journalism, data journalism is like the new thing, and that journalist has to have the basic skills such as data analytics, knowing how to use Excel. That's like the basic thing. Like Mr. Sasongko said about learning courses related to data analytics. You can learn coding. That is like it's a long process, but it's important for you as a journalist to have that added value to your organization. So other emerging trends can be like AR, how we use like virtual reality to offer like immersive ways to present the data. So we haven't really gone into that yet. So we are still like visualizing data in interactive ways in terms of charts and stuff. But we can get into virtual reality. So that's another important area to look at. And also we can also look at like enhanced data visualization tools. For now, we only like as a data journalist, the only tool that is easy to use and fast is Flourish. So we can also like look at other data visualization tools to help. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Pak Sas and Miss Diana. I couldn't agree more with the two of you. I believe that, AI would replace us, but then being a journalist, how my boss would say, there's many ways to skin a cat. So there's many ways to ask questions to a source, to a political figure that perhaps AI could not emulate or navigate or articulate through the questioning. So moving on to Miss Diana, this is something that I myself would also like to know. How can journalists effectively collaborate with data scientists and other experts to produce data-driven stories? Could you kindly share if you have any?
Okay. So the first thing is you yourself have to learn the basics. How to find the data, how to collect the data, how to analyze it in a simple way, because you need to know what you want from the data. To approach a data scientist and explain to them what you need from the data, you have to know the data and the basics of how to analyze the data. So their role is just to make the process easier. So when you know what you want from the data, so it's easier for them to analyze it. So it's easy to collaborate with them on that. so that the findings and the results is in line for what you want. So you have to also like develop technical skills. Like I said, the basic one is Excel. But Excel can do a lot of things. It seems like a simple tool, but there's so many things that you can do with it as a normal journalist who does not have any coding background or anything. So that is the practical experience that you really need. So you have to like work on real projects, like engage in like various projects, and also like contribute to open source data, so that you know like where are the data sources and how data scientists can come in, and when and how data scientists can come in to help you in your projects. Yep.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Diyana. Another big question for both of you. This is for those who are at home also watching. This is something that you might need to jot down. So what are the advices would you offer to aspiring journalists looking forward to develop their skills in data-driven reporting? So perhaps Pak Sas could take the floor on this first.
Yeah, this is the one that I already mentioned just now. Actually, the first thing every journalist you must learn about data science. You don't need to think or overthinking about, oh, I have to learn mathematics, I have to learn programming. No, data science actually simple, much simple. As Ms. Diana mentioned, you can start with Excel, and then you can use Flourish. Even Flourish also can offer for free. Yeah, but from the beginning, even from the year one students, yeah, journalists, it must be exposed with all data-driven kind of assignment. You cannot just rely, oh, later after I join Start, then only I will start learning data. No, it must be started from the year one. Why? Because as I mentioned just now, in order for journalists to be relevant, is the thinking and understanding of data. Because if it is just copywriting, if it is just about writing or designing some we call it like image or statistic, those will be replaced by AI. AI can do that. So if you learning in UiTM, for example, I want to learn to write, I want to learn copywriting, I want to learn designing graphic. That's not enough. You must learn to understand the data. Yeah, as I mentioned, since the beginning of the maybe year one, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe with a professor, doctors, yeah, you must start putting assignment with the data analysis because yeah, AI is, as I mentioned just now, it's scary. Even nowadays also to do application development, yeah, to do mobile apps, you can ask AI to do that. Even also we also scared, yeah, hey, then meaning we have no value. No, our value is on the storytelling. That's the one that AI cannot do. Yeah, reasoning, that's the also AI cannot do, right? But if just doing all the technical skill, those things will be replaced by AI. That's what I mentioned about why journalists, if you just rely on writing, try to get the contact. Even nowadays, right? I mean, this is a journalist. This is my experience working with SUA, Setia Usaha Akbar, and also UKK, right? Most of journalists will try to get the contact because, yeah, like Miss Diana, I think you believe with me, right? Whoever that can contact the minister the first, that's where the news value, right? You cannot like say, oh, I cannot contact the minister. Even I need to know where the minister going today, right? So the first thing you must know the agenda of the ministers, right? Or the target, the VIP target VIP. So first you must understand who are the SUA and who are the corporate call, for example. And imagine, yeah, for past 5 years, Malaysia, we have 4 prime ministers, different cabinet. Almost every 2 years, change the cabinet, right? You must get to know who are the new SUA, who are the new UKK, right? So it will be difficult if we have to do it manually. That's why data, you can search from LinkedIn. You can search from the LinkedIn, you can connect to others. You can look at the directory of the minister, check one by one in the LinkedIn. So you know already immediately. Let's say there is a new minister coming, you know already who are the team. That's the first thing you have to start to contact. How you contact? Check their social media so that you know who are their background, their interest, and so on. Then only start communicating. Correct or not? That's actually the data science exercise. Whether you like it or not, that's a data science exercise actually. Then only you know to the minister assistant. Then you know where the minister agenda. What is the minister agenda today, tomorrow, so that you can be the first to get the news, to get the content. Yeah. So that's my opinion. Yeah. Thank you.
What about you, Miss Diyana?
I think for me, the Gen Z, actually, I'm Gen Y. So the Gen Z now has a lot of advantages in terms of the access to information, how they are more proficient in, like, using AI, using ChatGPT, and, going across social media to find information. So they have that added advantage. So with that kind of analytical skill that you can get into data journalism. So just learn the basics, like the foundation of it is, okay, stats, data analysis, and also data visualization. So that is the three main, the core thing that you have to have in order to get into data journalism. Once you develop these technical skills, it's very easy. So apart from what on top of what Mr. Sasongko just said just now, of course you have to have the critical thinking. You have to know the context, and also how to approach your contacts. Uh, that cannot be left behind. If you have your technical skills, you also have to have the communication skills. So it has to go hand in hand, and also you have to be creative, um, because data journalism combines like a few skills that previously is like segregated. Like when you say data journalist, you have to be a writer, and also an analyst, and also create like visualizations which uses your creativity skills. So there's a combination of skills that you have to develop over the years. So it's not like a one day thing. And it can be learned. It takes time, of course. I am also learning this, but it can be done. So just focus on like a few data analytical tools that you can find online from Google. There's a lot of courses that Google has for free that you can search for. So like it's a great opportunity to learn for journalists, because you have to have the added value when you want to join media and also other organizations. So what other value that you have for companies to hire you? So you have to think about that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Diana. So here you go, folks at home, and those who are watching. That's your advice from the two top and experienced data analysts and scientists and journalists. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind all participants that the event has not ended. I hope that everyone can stay back for a photography session after this, and do fill up the feedback form that has been provided in the chat box. Before we end the program for today, we have a Q&A session for both of our panelists. So actually, I already have the questions. There's 4 questions in total. We have a couple from Indonesia, FKDK Budi Luhur. So this one goes to both panels. So it was from Daddy S of Budi Luhur. Uh, he asked that how can data journalism be used to solve social issues, while currently many people in the media also deliver news that could lead to public opinion. What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned just now, even I showed just now, to understand social issues from the issue boycott, issue poverty, issue subsidy, you cannot rely only from the we call it the primary data. You need the secondary data. For example, to go to subsidy, it cannot just based on the statement of the VIP minister, so but you also have to look from the public. So if you want to understand what is the opinion from the public, conventionally we have to do survey, right? Which is will be very, very costly and you need more time. But now with social media, you can just go to the certain group of people and then just do some simple scan to understand what actually people opinion about, let's say in maybe people start saying that RON 95 subsidy, the price will increase. So you can just go to the group of people that transport a lot, right? For example. So what's their opinion? So this will be your secondary data, yeah. It's not the survey, but it's the secondary data. You can use that social media to be not to be the statistic, but to be the indicators, yeah. Towards what will be your interest next. Maybe you want to write some article, or because social media it can be a good indicators, but not statistic, yeah, as I mentioned just now. Because most of it will be a noise instead of voice. But to be an indicator, sometimes it's good enough as long as the methodology that you use, the technique that you use is can be responsible. Okay, that's my opinion.
What about you, Miss Diyana?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Sure. It's how can data journalism be used to solve social issues while currently many people face in the media also deliver news that can lead sway public opinion. What do you think about it?
In the context of like data journalism, yeah, we can like we try to understand the audience as best as we can, and also like um put the angle of a story to address the situation that is faced. But we cannot control the netizens, right? So it's very difficult. Like how Mr. Sasongko said, we have to know the sentiment of the people on the ground, and as best as we could. Of course, for organizations, it's different. Like for the media, we can try to get like the fast response from our stakeholders to put out their statements. But it all depends on how organizations react in terms of situations of bad reputation. So, yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Diana. Miss Diana, there's another question from Nur Nazura Alia from UiTM. So she asks how data can be collected and turned into a news story. Perhaps you could give your answer to that.
Okay. So basically, the most of the data that we use is from our Department of Statistics, but there are various other data sources like national property information that has information on like house pricing, and also how many like houses were sold in the past years. So there are various data sources that you can find online. The challenge is how do you collect the data and what do you do with the data? So you collect the data, you extract all the information and data that they have, and then how you put together those various data into one, and also how you analyze it. So usually we use Excel to do that. That's why I mentioned how Excel is very important. So the data sources is vast. You can find it everywhere online, or you can also contact our government agencies and also request for the data, especially updated data, because the ones they put online of course are like 2022, and it's outdated data lah. So if you want like updated ones, you have to contact government agencies, but that depends on how fast they can give you the data. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. There's two more questions here actually. So this one is for Pak Sas. It's from Febi Amalia from FKDK Budi Luhur. So she asks, in this advanced era, social media is a source for all people to get information. But how can data journalism help in overcoming the spread of hoaxes?
Okay, this is the one that I mentioned just now about admiralty analysis. Yeah. There is no such things that you can define this is hoax or this is not hoax. What you can do is a comparison. That's why although social media is is important, but you also have to compare it with the mainstream media. That's why in our methodology, when it comes to big data analytics, we always capture both sides, social media and also mainstream media. And then we put some weight on that using some scoring technique there. If it is appear in social media, but it is not in the mainstream media, then the credibility, I can say like 50% or 30%. But if it is appear in mainstream media and also in social media, they can put more weight. But again, I look at the influencers. Who are the influencers there? In the influencer is just simple cyber troopers, or it is the VIP, the ministers, the directors, the CEO. Then that's why there are so many indicators involved. Yeah, in fact, just analyzing Zeus coffee issues, we have to cover all sides. That's why big data analytics is different like a statistic. Big data from the name, like data, big and data. We need the data which is big enough to analyze, to come up with the conclusion. Yeah. So I think that's my opinion. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So on to our last question. This one is for Miss Diyana. So it's from Ifani from FKDK Budilor again. So she asked how to maintain ethics and privacy when working, especially with sensitive and personal data.
Ethics and sensitivity. So it goes back to your how you were taught about ethics in journalism in university, right? So it's important to ensure that you come up with credible data and information that is not sensitive to your audience. So you have to also with data journalism, you like I said before, it's about ensuring that although the data can be used, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's ethical to use. There are some instances where you can scrape data from websites to create a story, but then it's not ethical. You can't just simply take the data. It's a complex thing to explain about scraping data, but it's basically like unethically using people's data to come up with a finding lah. So yeah, there are certain things that you have to take into account lah when doing data journalism. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Diana, and also Pak Sas, for the whole time you've been on this session. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have actually come to the end of our session. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our panelists for their valuable insights and encouraging contributions for today. It has been an honor for me, for the whole team here at e-Colloquium, to have you, and your commitment to use media as a catalyst for change, especially in the realms of data journalism, is truly inspiring. I would like to also thank our sponsors, Unkit Coffee, Restaurant Hazim, and Brand Me Associates for their contribution in ensuring that this event goes smoothly as planned. And before we part our ways, we would like to request our panelist organizer to turn on your cameras for a group photo. So I'm taking a cue from our technical side to take the photo. So everyone, could you please smile? And 3, 2, 1. There we go. That's our photo right there. So with the picture session completed, we have actually come to the end of our discussion with our panelists, and also participants should remember to fill out our feedback form and check out our social media at Newscamp 2.0 for more news and updates. And with that, I would like to hand over this program back to our MC Hidayah.
At last, now that our final meeting is drawing near, let's add some excitement. We are going to start this unique lucky wheel. Stand a chance to win amazing prizes. If you haven't registered yet, kindly do so right now. Prepare yourself for we will be drawing our lucky winner in a short while. I wish you all the best of luck. Are you guys ready for some excitement? In 3 and 2, 1. And we have our first winner, Raka Ditya Christian Indi Saputra. Congratulations! Going on for our next winner. We have Casey Rahayu. Congratulations! Let's go next. Congratulations, Winda Abigail Pesik. And we have Nur Hanifah Ramadan. Thank you. Congratulations. And we have our fifth winners. Wardah binti Rahim. Congratulations, Wardah. Congratulations, Elisa Gabrielle Lowe. We only have 2 more prizes to give. And we have Nur Farzana Izati binti Sharin Aznam. Congratulations, Farzana. And at last, we have our last winner. Dun, 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 dun. We have Risma Shahwanti. Congratulations. Congratulations. A big congratulations to the winners for being the luckiest one today. Your dynamic and luck has truly shone through. Enjoy your well-deserved prize. To everyone else, a heartfelt thank you for participating. While not everyone may have won this time, but your presence and engagement made this event special. We hope you had fun being part of this. For that, please stay tuned to our social media posting by @newscam 2.0 on Instagram. Thank you all for your valuable insights and engaging discussions today. Let's conclude our forum on this positive note. Looking forward to our future discussion and collaboration. I hope to see you all at our news camp. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Data journalism is not just about numbers, it is about finding stories hidden within the data.
Data journalism allows us to contextualize complex issues, presenting them in a digestible format for our audience.
It's like detective works. You sift through massive datasets to uncover insight that traditional reporting might miss.
Unveiling the influence of data in journalism.